because if the 5-year-old had not done that, the neighbors may not have known.
The 5-year-old made a cry for help to get herself, a toddler, and an infant out of a smoking home in Harrison Township. Deputies say their mother left them home alone to go to the store while grease burned on a hot stove. I'm Cheryl McHenry.
And I'm James Brown. Now that mother's in the Montgomery County Jail.
And that's where News Center 7's Jenna Deary is live to tell us how the children got out of the house alive. Jenna?
Well, Cheryl and James, deputies say some neighbors realized the children were in trouble when the 5-year-old started banging on windows. Meanwhile, they hope Brittany Woods realizes she should have never left them alone. One neighbor picks up the phone to call 911.
This lady left her 3 kids in the house by herself with a fire grease on, and our house is smoking.
While another responded to a 5-year-old's cry.
The 5-year-old was knocking on windows and doors and got the neighbors' attention.
Inside this Northland Village townhome in Harrison Township, filling with smoke from burning grease last night.
There was smoke coming from the house, but the neighbors ran in and got the kids out and turned the pot out. But she was at the store.
Deputies say 23-year-old Brittany Woods left her children ages 5, 3, and 8 months alone.
She had went to go get milk at a grocery store.
They don't know how long she was gone, but they say it was long enough for danger to present itself.
There comes an age where, yeah, it makes sense to maybe leave that child home for 10 minutes. But I don't think anyone would argue that it makes common sense to leave a 5-year-old in charge of a 3-year-old and 8-month-old infant for any length of time.
And deputies tell us the children did suffer minor smoke inhalation, but they did not have to go to the hospital. They are now in the care of Children's Services. If convicted, their mother, Brittany Woods, could face up to 18 months in jail for child endangering charges. Live outside the Montgomery County Jail, Jenna Deary, News Center 7.
All right.
Okay.
You left a message for me regarding information about your son, and I do not have any of that information. I would refer you back to the Children's Services caseworker. I don't have any information. I haven't received any updated information since we met at Care House.
So what is your position in this? Are you supposed to find...
I'm a victim advocate, but only if a case goes through. He hasn't even been interviewed. So, I was just providing you information about Care House when you came in. But if your son would come in for an interview, then I would be more involved in the case.
Okay, so
really, the Children's Services caseworker is the person that you would need to talk to about any follow-up that took place as a result of your son's injuries or medical.
Okay, so I was just a little concerned about that because I had missed a math test that day, and that caused me to fail that whole term. And I came down there, and it was my understanding that Children's Services or someone was supposed to notify me as to what to do with the children. I showed the information from Children's Medical Center to the police officer or the sheriff's deputy that was out there at the Harrison Township location. And all he said was they were going on some emergency plan that was already in place. The emergency plan that was already in place was based on the last case where the mother left the children alone with the grease fire on the stove. So that was the emergency plan that was in place. And for different injuries, allegations to come into play, I'm not sure how that was supposed to go. I mean, you know, because it didn't seem correct for me to take the children right back to their mother when there was clear allegations of injuries or clear injuries involved that you could tell. I mean, so your agency would not do any follow-up if I couldn't bring the child to the meeting, which no one told me. So Children's Medical Center doesn't know what you're supposed to do when you come to those meetings, or no one could have told me. The sheriff's department couldn't have told me I was supposed to keep the children to bring them to that meeting.
I don't know. I wasn't a part of what happened, initially, so I don't know. But in order for the children to be interviewed, they have to be here.
Oh, I thought you said you guys were going to do a home visit that day.
That would be something Children's Services would be involved with. I don't do home visits.
Okay, so you guys really don't. You really don't leave your office period to do anything.
We go to court. We go from care house to court.
So with a situation like this, so you haven't,
or the police do the visits in the home.
So you guys
That's what the allegations are.
So you guys don't follow up and hear about what happened as far as what was said about the child, the injuries.
Not unless the child comes in here to be interviewed.
Wow. Okay. I appreciate your concern.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions? Good afternoon, Cecilia.
Yes, this is Terrence Pascal returning your call.
Yes, Mr. Pascal, I'm actually returning your call in response to the message you left.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes, I still haven't received that letter, and if I might ask, who are you?
I'm the intake assessment worker that was assigned to the case that came in, for the situation that I guess that occurred on 2/24 of this year.
Yes, I believe that was,
Yes.
yeah.
And so I was the intake worker that was assigned to that intake. And you're asking for, you said that you hadn't received a disposition letter yet?
No, ma'am.
Okay. I'm sure that a disposition letter was mailed out. Let me double check your address here. 5534 West 3rd Street, is that your address?
Yes.
Okay.
No, it's 53. No, it's 5334.
Yeah, 5334 West 3rd Street.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, that's the address in which the disposition letter was generated and mailed to. Let me.
Well, is the disposition letter the letter that just it really wasn't a detailed report? It didn't say, it wasn't speaking of any specifics.
Yes.
Okay, I'm trying to get a letter, or I'm trying to get a copy of the report.
Okay.
That's what I need. Because this letter said what? What was this letter mean? What was the meaning of this letter?
The meaning of that letter is that the referral that came in on 2/24 of 2013 in regards to physical abuse, the alleged child victim was Terrence Jr., and that the disposition for physical abuse was unsubstantiated. And that's what that disposition letter means.
Okay, what does it mean that there is going to be a continuation of?
Because the case is still open and ongoing services, so her case will continue to remain open for additional services that has been identified that mom is going to be working on, and I think the ongoing caseworker is Vicki Carter. So, the case is still open with our agency for her to receive services.
Okay, so who should the report be coming from? The written report, the detailed report of what mom said about the injuries and how they came to the conclusion.
There's no detailed report that will be generated, in regards to that. If there's something that you want to know, in regards to that exactly happened for the child was interviewed through the care house, that appointment took place and things of that nature.
Hold on, excuse me. So the children were interviewed by the care house?
Yes, sir, they were.
What date was that?
They were interviewed. I will have to try to go back into this case.
Okay. Would I be able to get their findings of, a report about what they felt was going on?
Based off of the interviews that took place for both of the children, that there was no concerns. There was no report that was written specifically to
Who was the worker that interviewed the children, if I might ask that?
There wasn't a worker with our agency. The Care House, they have their separate team that
so it would have been the same worker that I had contact with, that I spoke with when I showed up at the sheriff's department.
And who would that be? I'm sorry, sir. I don't know who you spoke to. Who would that be that you spoke to?
No, it was a worker at the Care House. I just wanted to know if the worker I spoke with was the same worker that wrote that report.
There's several workers there. Do you remember her name?
Or gave. No, I'm concerned about who the worker was that actually did that report that interviewed the children, because this worker didn't interview the children.
Okay. Let me see here.
So that worker didn't write a report. Vicky Carter didn't write a report, but the sheriff.
Vicky is not a Care House worker.
I know she's not.
Yeah.
I'm saying the Care House didn't type up or write up a report, and Vicky Carter didn't type up a specific report. However, the sheriff's department typed up a specific report and took 24 digital photographs.
Okay.
And their report is so detailed that it mentions the fact that it had the date of when the mother had left the children in the home alone in Northland Village Apartments.
Okay.
When did that occur? Well, that's what the ongoing case is about.
Yeah, and see, I wouldn't have any of that information, because that wasn't the basis of that initial intake that I addressed, which came in on, just like I said, in response to the 224 incident.
So the children were interviewed by Care House.
Yes, they were interviewed by Care House. I was trying to.
Okay, it doesn't reflect that in the sheriff's report, but.
Okay, no, they were interviewed until 4. I don't know what date did you have on your sheriff's report. What date do you have on your sheriff's report?
Let's see. Let me get this. The sheriff's report was on February the. Hold on. It was March. That was printed March the 7th. Looks to me that
you were saying it was
the report date was February the 23rd.
Okay. Yes, they were interviewed on 4/25, so it wouldn't indicate an interview with Care House in your report.
So the children were interviewed in April.
4/5.
They were interviewed in April.
Yes, 4/5/13.
But there is no worker listed as who interviewed the children.
No, that's why I was telling you that I need to look for the name. Her name is Jennifer Nicely.
How do you spell that?
Jennifer Nicely. And I think her last name is spelled Nicely, but I don't have that. She interviewed the children on 4/5. If there's
a name, you have her name, but you don't know how to spell.
I just spelled it Nicely.
Oh, okay.
It could be with it could be with an S. I just don't want to incorrectly spell her name. I just remember her name at this point.
Okay.
Who did the interview, sir?
I was asking if I could get a detailed report, because I was told that I should get a detailed report about what was said about where the marks came from. I mean, you know, like I've said before to people, like if you had a mark down to the white meat, I'm sure, I mean, we're grown-ups, we're going to cry and we're going to run to somebody, if not the medicine cabinet. And when a parent would ask a child like, oh boy, what happened to you? Of course, he's going to say exactly what happened to him, because when he got injured at my mother's house, him and his sister, my daughter, they had no problem explaining where the marks came, you know, what happened in that incident. And I'm just wanting to know what was said about the excessive marks, because before they were said to be eczema, and that's what's in the sheriff's report. So I wanted to know what Vicki Carter said in her written report, her field report, when you go out and do a report.
Okay. And again, if there is something that Mrs. Carter has documented, I have to redirect you back to Mrs. Carter in regards to any documentation on her end. What I can do is I can give you a call back, and I can talk with Vicki if there was something specifically that, you know, that someone agreed to write in detail to you.
Yes, because ma'am, let me stop you. Because two doctors looked at those marks and said that they concerned them and they wanted to know where the marks came from. I mean, I just want to know where it came from. It's a pretty ugly scar, and it was several of them on his body. And they were said to be several birthmarks on his body and eczema. But the doctor said that there was no eczema. So I need to see where Vicki Carter wrote out that there was eczema, because her verbal testimony in the sheriff's report is that he had eczema and she rubbed lotion on him and the scars went away. But the scars were still there, because that's what the sheriffs took pictures of.
Okay. Well, again, unfortunately, Mr. Pascal, I cannot respond to a report that you're requesting from Mrs. Carter, but I can talk with her and we can get back with you in regards to that. You know, because I was not there when
do you know where, excuse me, I know. That's why I've been put in contact with you. Do you know where Debbie Shaw is? Because she was supposed to contact me back as well.
Okay.
Because, see, after I talk to her, then I can go to FAIR. That's my next step.
Okay.
So I need to hear back from Debbie Shaw if someone could pass that along to her or whatever, because I couldn't get through because her phone is declining my calls.
Okay. I will touch base with Vicki Carter and Debbie Shaw to see exactly what report you're looking for, Mr. Pascal, okay?
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate you. Thanks for calling. Bye. Okay, hello?
Yes?
Yeah.
I had a couple messages from you, and I was out of the office on Friday, so I got your messages this morning.
Oh, okay. I don't know if you remember who I am.
Yes,
I was told by an intake worker at Children's Services that someone had made a visit out there to the home, or they had spoken with the children.
I'm not aware of the current status of the Children's Services case.
No, I'm not asking about that. I'm asking, did someone from the care house go out and speak with the children in April, the 5th day?
Not that I'm aware of. I don't know of any home visits.
Well, did they come into your office, you guys' office?
They do come to care house.
They did.
It may have been that the children came here, the child came here.
Yes, that's what I was wanting to know. Is there any record of that? Because since I filed the original complaint, I was just curious as to what the finding was when they spoke with the children in April.
I don't know. I don't know the outcome of that. The person that you would need to speak to is Jen Nisley. She's our social worker here at Care House. She works for Children's Medical, and she is out of the office until Thursday.
And her name is
Jennifer Nisley.
Nisley. Mm-hmm. Is that with a C?
No, K-N-I-S-L-E-Y.
Oh, okay, Nisley. Mm-hmm. Okay, so she'll be in the office on Thursday?
Thursday. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye-bye.